Let us pray. Most loving God, on this day of celebration, we gather with hearts full of gratitude for the journey that has brought the class of 2026 to this moment. We give thanks for the knowledge they have pursued, the friendships that have sustained them, and the resilience they have discovered through every challenge and triumph. We also honor all who have walked beside them, families, friends who loved without condition, faculty, mentors who taught with passion, the staff whose care and support helped make this day possible as well. As these graduates step into the next chapter of their lives, grant them courage to dream boldly, wisdom to seek justice, and compassion to serve others. May they carry hope that overcomes fear and a vision that helps create a more loving and connected world. Remind them always that they do not walk alone. They are forever part of this beloved community. They are and always will be Fighting Scots. In your most holy name we pray, amen.
Please be seated. Well, here we are. Reverend Huxtable, thank you for the invocation, and thanks also to the Monmouth Chorale for the beautiful rendition of the Alma Mater. Good afternoon on this beautiful celebration day for all of us. We're delighted that you can participate in the 168th commencement exercises of Monmouth College. Before we get started, I want to introduce who's up on the platform with me. On my far left, you just met Reverend Dr. John Huxtable, the college chaplain, and to his right is our distinguished guest and commencement speaker, Brad Narstadt, class of '89. Give a wave. And to Mr. Narstadt's right is Monmouth College Registrar, Christy Millar, and to her right, Turner Plummer, the Lincoln Laureate of the class of 2026, one of your own. And on my immediate left is Mark Wilhart, our Dean of Faculty and our Vice President for Academic Affairs. Now I want to recognize a few people. First, to our members of our Board of Trustees. These people, very dedicated people, volunteer their time. Many of them are alums of the college, provided critical leadership for this institution. I hope today, graduates, that someday you will have service as a trustee among your ambitions. With the Board of Trustees members here today, please stand and be recognized. I'd also like to recognize the members of the College Alumni Board. These individuals serve the college in many ways, encouraging prospective students, providing internships and career opportunities for current students and to other alumni, and making inspiring financial contributions and serving as a great resource for ideas and sounding board for all of us here at the college. Would any members of the Alumni Board, past or present, please stand to be recognized? And I want to extend a warm appreciation and welcome to the faculty and the staff here. At Monmouth, no matter who you are, what your title is, we are all educators. We're committed to the growth of these individuals as future leaders. Through their dedication and their passion, our faculty and staff prepare students for success and shape them into lifelong learners. This faculty and staff is very much appreciated by all our graduates. I hear that every day, and I know their families. Thank you for your dedication, your commitment over the years to this outstanding class of graduates. Would the faculty and the staff, if you're already standing, give a wave, all be recognized, stand and be recognized. As we thank the faculty and staff, I want to express some special appreciation to those who make this weekend happen, right? Our faculty marshals, Audrey Grudge, Stacy Loach, Sean Shaman, Saad Bashir, And to our facilities staff who was here at 5 o'clock in the morning setting up the stage and setting up the chairs for us and making the campus look even more beautiful today. And our student affairs staff and our alumni and development staff who handle many of the weekend logistics so that you can focus on just celebrating. Thank you for going an extra mile for all of you. Okay, now let's get down to business. A special welcome to the most important people of the day. You know, this is a culmination of your years of dedication, of study and hard work, and the beginning of a new exciting chapter. Let's all recognize this class of 2026. And let's stand to be recognized. Let's go. Members of the class, stay standing and just turn in the direction where you see your family. We're going to recognize your families next. So to our warm, give them a wave. Yeah. So we want to make sure, stay standing, a warm welcome to the mothers and fathers and husbands and brothers and sisters and wives and sons, grandparents, aunts, uncles, guardians, caretakers, friends of these graduates that are here to celebrate today. We welcome all of you and we give you a big, giant thank you for all you have done, and we're so glad you're here to celebrate. So let's give your families and friends and all the people that are special in your life a big hello. And let's all stand to be recognized if you can. Please be seated. Man, I love Commencement Day. It is so wonderful to celebrate with all of you. So today's program, you will see, we have two addresses for you this afternoon. One, and the first one, will be presented by our student laureate from the Lincoln Academy of Illinois, Turner Plummer. Give him a little shout out. Get the jitters out, right? The Lincoln Academy is unique among 50 states. It's an academy that was established to honor Illinois' most distinguished citizens with the state's highest award, the Order of Lincoln. Each year, an outstanding senior who exhibits the overall excellence in curricular and co-curricular programs is selected from each of the 4-year degree-granting institutions in Illinois, and this year, Turner was the selection. Turner has indeed exhibited such excellence as an engineering scholar, a campus leader, a student athlete. In all aspects of college life, he has been tremendous. He's a great model for a Monmouth student, a person of passion and character and compassion, and he is ready to get out there and lead and serve in his community. And so I will now invite him up to the podium to give his address. Please welcome Turner.
Hello, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, in the graduating class of 2026. I would like to share one key idea that the Chancellor of the Lincoln Academy of Illinois, Todd Shapiro, shared with us student laureates last semester in Chicago. He told us the most important word we will ever learn is a 3-letter one. It's the word we learn when it's one of the first words we learn. It is the word why. I mean, what did we all say when we were refused candy by our parents? We said why. I mean, it was our way of trying to understand the situation. Chancellor Shapiro told us to never stop asking why, because that is our way to continue to learn, to never stop exploring, to find our why. So why? Why am I standing in front of you today? Well, that one's easy. It's because I'm the Lincoln Laureate for the class, and I get the privilege to stand in front of you all and, well, try not to mess this speech up too bad. Some whys are more complex, though. Like, why am I actually standing here? And why do we get to cross the stage today? I'm standing here today because of those who helped guide me. My family, my teammates, the engineering and physics department, Dean Wilhart, and my fellow engineering classmates, and finally, Professor Fasano, who deserves a special shout out for everything he's done for the program and proving that sleep is apparently optional. And I can't forget all the other professors and coaches who helped me get here either. Thank you. You guys are why I'm standing here today. We all have people to thank for why we get to cross this stage today. But before we get to go celebrate with them, please join me in a round of applause for those who sacrificed a lot for us. It's not only those who helped us, but also our own individual experiences that help shape us. Why were all the long nights, the challenges, and the sacrifices worth it? I think the answer is found in the experiences we shared throughout our time at college. As the class of 2026, we had nothing short of an interesting college experience. As freshmen, we asked why we ever took the cafeteria for granted once we had to eat in Mellinger Commons every day. As sophomores and juniors, we asked why we couldn't ever get power. And now as seniors, we ask why it all went by so fast. Sometimes our whys are more particular. For instance, I asked why I had to take a professional ethics class as an engineer. I thought I only needed math and physics, but this ethics class became one of, if not the most, exciting class I've ever taken. As engineers, we take notes, learn physics and math, and apply them to our lab or an exam. But this ethics class challenged me to think about complex dilemmas and difficult ideas. It allowed me to just think and have fun conversations while doing so. I realized that's why I had to take an ethics class. Looking back now, another challenging question is how? How did these experiences shape us into the people sitting here today? We developed some of the best long-lasting relationships, some connections we never expected. And so, how did I become great friends with a golfer when I can't swing a club to save my life? But it happened. We learned life lessons such as, I'll do it tomorrow becomes a dangerous lifestyle, a good professor can completely change the subject, laundry won't do itself, and always make sure a bathroom is readily available after eating at the caf. But through our journey, we found ourselves and learned how to balance responsibilities on our own. And the Monmouth community was always there to help us out. Another question we must answer is, how did 4 years go by so quickly? Well, for me, it was because of my vast experiences, and some good and some not so good. Doing engineering and physics homework seemed to make the time go by so fast. So fast, I often needed an extension. I think we can all agree that those assignments sneak up on you, and before you know it, it's Thursday night, and our 3-page assignment is due in class the next day. Still, it isn't always about the schoolwork, so how did it go by so fast? Well, a lot of our time was spent outside the classroom, at practices, games, concerts, plays, sorority and fraternity events, and so much more. Personally, some of my most meaningful moments came from being with my friends, whether that was on the court or off the court. I can say that I've had some of the most fun and some of the most difficult experiences while playing basketball. I went from being an all-conference player to sitting in the operating room about to have surgery. My last 2 years were certainly not the most fun I've ever had, but how did I get the confidence to play again? Well, it's because of countless hours of recovery, proving to myself I could still do the hard things, realizing I didn't need to be perfect to enjoy it again. And, well, it's because of the countless hours of realizing I didn't need to be perfect to enjoy it again. And finally, I had my amazing teammates, friends, coaches, and the community encouraging me to continue. But I couldn't have done it if I never tried, if I never gave it a chance, and if I never showed up. Now, those are my own experiences, but you all are shaped by your own experiences throughout your years at Monmouth. What we learned most of all was to show up. Just showing up helps build you as a person. Throughout gaining knowledge, connections, and friendships, showing up can help boost you into a new and better person. I would have never met the great friends I have today if I hadn't shown up for my college visit 4 years ago. And I certainly wouldn't have passed all my classes if I hadn't shown up to them. All of my engineering classmates could agree with me that missing one day of notes leads to missing an entire section on the exam. And when I look out at you today, I see people who kept showing up through difficult exams, setbacks, power outages, and whatever hurdles college could throw at us. We are here today because we kept coming back and continuing to show up for ourselves and for each other. So what do we do now? We continue to show up to our jobs, our graduate classes, to whatever it may be, because showing up has already made us successful. I know I can say with confidence that Monmouth has helped all of us learn a thing or two about becoming a successful person. So no matter where you go or what you do after this, whether that's school, work life, or other endeavors, everyone here is capable of great success. Monmouth has taught us a lot about why, like why challenges are important, why growth takes time, but it has also taught us about how, like how to build confidence, how we have made it this far, and most importantly, how to show up. So remember to continue to ask the difficult questions, even if they are the elementary ones like why and how. And remember to always show up. Thank you, Monmouth, and the class of 2026. We made it.
I think we're all proud of our tartan. I think we're proud of the echoes of the bagpipes. But what you might not know about this town was founded by the railroad. And so it seemed fitting, Turner, that you had a backdrop of the train whistles and train sounds during your commencement address. Thank you, Turner. And thank you for your message and for showing up over and over again. I invite Brad Narstedt to please come forward. After graduating from Monmouth summa cum laude in 1989 with degrees in English and political science, and also one of the first 4 students to complete Monmouth's College Distinction Program, Brad Narstedt earned his Juris Doctor cum laude from the University of Illinois College of Law in 1992. He began his legal career as an associate at William Montgomery & John and was named partner in the firm in 2001. 5 years later, he was the youngest member of the firm elected to the Equity Partnership. In 2012, Narstedt became one of the 5 founding partners of Lyons, Murphy, Narstedt, and Pontius, which he served for 7 years as the president and the managing partner. The following 2 years, he served as chief operating officer at Donahue, Brown, and Matheson and Smith, retiring in 2021 after 30 years in the legal field. His clients list read like a corporate who's who in America. Quest Diagnostics, General Electric, Bosch & Lomb, Dow & Corning, Black & Decker, Borg Warner Corporation, Costco Wholesale Corp., CBS Corp., and insurance companies like Progressive and Geico. As a Monmouth student, Narstedt was selected as a Blue Key Senior Man of the Year, in part due to his active membership in what we call on campus SIGEP, or Sigma Phi Epsilon, including 2 years as the fraternity chapter's president. He took that love of SIGEP into his post-grad life, serving in various leadership roles that prepared him for an elective grand president for the fraternity from 2023 to 2025. Last year, he received the Paul Slater Award for Distinguished Service on SIGEP's National Board of Directors, and that same month was inducted into the Order of the Golden Heart, the highest honor the fraternity can confer upon a member. Monmouth College has honored him with both a Young Alumnus Award in 2000 and a Distinguished Alumni Award in 2014. The following year, he was one of 3 inaugural inductees into the college's Order of Omega Fraternity and Sorority Hall of Fame. I guess you're getting a breeze. Yeah, there you go. As an attorney, Narstedt was the author and co-author of more than 90 articles that have appeared in some of the leading legal publications in the country. He was also the co-author of 40 book chapters on issues of discovery and trial practice. Since retiring, he keeps on writing, right? And continues to write, authoring 4 books, 3 of them on early 20th century politics, including a full-length biography of Alton Parker, the 1904 Democratic nominee, and his latest book, The Men in the Arena, Theodore Roosevelt and William Howard Taft and the Political Convention That Reshaped the Republican Party, is scheduled for publication out in December. I have heard him, I've had the honor of knowing Brad for some time, and I can tell you I am a better person for it. You just heard, of course, he's an amazing lawyer, an amazing public servant, a SIGAP national leader, but he is so much more. A daily pickleball enthusiast, a dog lover, a devoted husband and father, welcome all, and a really good SIGAP brother, to brothers that are younger and older, and a generous giver to Monmouth College and all of you. He's given thousands of hours of his time, from moot court competitions to athletic task force this year and many other special projects. But the thing I admire the most about Brad is that he is a hard worker, he is brilliant intellect, he's a courageous leader, but he loves to have fun doing it all. And he brings joy to every meeting and to anybody that's fortunate to work with him. He's certainly been a joy in my life, and for that, thank you, Brad. So now I am honored to present Brad Narstadt for the honorary degree, the Doctor of Humane Letters. The Board of Trustees of the Monmouth College, with the Charter Trustees and the trustees and the board assembled, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto are pertaining. I am honored to present you with a diploma, and I ask that you be invested with the appropriate hood.
Can you all see me? Okay. I asked them for a slightly lower podium, but this is all they could find. So, President Draves, Dean Wilhart, fellow trustees, distinguished faculty and staff, parents, friends, family, and most importantly, the class of 2026. When President Draves first called and asked if I would serve as the commencement speaker, I told her I would be honored to do so, and I assured her that I would have no problem addressing the graduates for 50 minutes. And she said, no, 15 minutes, not 50 minutes. And I said, well, I'm an attorney. It takes me 15 minutes just to clear my throat. And President Draves said, I think if you keep one thing in mind, you will be able to stay within that time frame. And I said, what's that? She said, just remember, you aren't getting paid. So graduates, with that in mind, thank you and good luck. In all seriousness, let me start with a confession. When I sat where you are sitting now, 37 years ago, I was not fully present. I was thinking about what came next, about whether I was going to be able to cross the platform without issue. If you're wondering, I did not. About how much my grandmother was going to give me for a graduation present. About whether I was going to get my room deposit back. I suspect that some of you are doing the same thing right now, and that's perfectly fine. One of the great gifts of a liberal arts education is that it has taught you to be in several places at once, to hold the immediate and the eternal in the same hand. To read Shakespeare on a Tuesday morning, write a paper about the emerging impact of artificial intelligence in the afternoon, and still make it to dinner with your friends. So let me try to be brief enough to hold your attention and substantial enough to be worth remembering. I want to share with you my 5 life lessons. Here is the first one. When opportunity knocks, open the door. Relationships will surprise you, sometimes with joy, sometimes with pain. Careers will pivot, plans will collapse. You will build something and watch it come apart, and then you will build it again. Time and time again, you will encounter an unexpected opportunity to change your vocation, to move to a different locale, to start a new connection. Embrace those opportunities and then do something extraordinary with them. Did you know that Harrison Ford was a 30-year-old professional carpenter building recording studios and libraries when George Lucas offered him the opportunity to play Bob Falfa in American Graffiti. He embraced that opportunity, and we got Han Solo, Rick Deckard, and Indiana Jones. Vera Wang was a figure skater and then an editor for Vogue magazine, and 40 years old when she got the opportunity to design her first wedding dress. She seized that opportunity, and the world of high fashion has never been the same. Let me bring this a little closer to home. When I left the hallowed halls of Wallace Hall, I knew exactly what I would do: attend the University of Illinois College of Law, obtain a law degree, and practice law. That was all I ever intended to do. But along the way, I was presented with the opportunity to become a teacher, an entrepreneur, a businessman, and an author. Did I have the experience to do those things when I did them? I most certainly did not. But here's the thing. Experience is not a prerequisite for opportunity. It is a consequence of it. You gain experience by going through the door, not by waiting on the other side. I had faith in my abilities, and most importantly, I was not afraid to take the risks. And that leads me to my second piece of advice. Do not be afraid to fail. Fear is a convincing liar. It will borrow the language of prudence. It will sound remarkably reasonable. And it will cost you more than you know. If you take only one thing from my remarks today, let it be this: failure is a natural consequence of trying. It is also a major part of success, as the following examples can attest. Theodore Geisel's first children's book was rejected by 23 publishers. You know him today as Dr. Seuss. In his first 3 years in the automotive business, Henry Ford went bankrupt twice. Thomas Edison was obsessed with perfecting the incandescent light bulb. He knew that in order to do so, he had to develop a special filament of calibrated resistance that could be electrically heated to the surface temperature of the sun. He tried more than 1,000 materials, including tungsten, platinum, and silk, before he finally hit upon the right combination: a U-shaped baked carbon filament. When questioned by a journalist about his hundreds of failed attempts, Edison stated, "I have not failed. I've just found 1,000 ways that don't work." And let's not forget the illustrious example of this state's most famous son. In 1832, Abraham Lincoln ran for a seat in the Illinois legislature and lost. In 1833, he borrowed money from a friend to start a business, and by the end of the year, he was bankrupt. In 1836, he had a total nervous breakdown. In 1838, he sought to become Speaker of the Illinois House of Representatives, and he lost that bid. In 1843, he failed to obtain his party's nomination to run for Congress. In 1846, he was finally elected to Congress, but he was not re-elected to that position 2 years later. In 1849, he sought the job of Commissioner of the General Land Office. He was not selected for that post. In 1854, he was a candidate for the United States Senate, and he lost. In 1856, his name was placed in nomination for the office of Vice President of the United States. He received only 110 votes. In 1858, he ran again for the United States Senate, and you guessed it, he lost again. In 1860, he was finally elected president. The man that almost all historians recognize as the greatest president we've ever had got to that office by literally traveling a road that was paved with failure. But he never gave up. Charles Kettering, famous inventor who developed the electric self-starter, recognized that those who have received an education believe that failure is beneath them, that it is not an option. But Kettering believed that well-managed failure is one of opportunity's favorite disguises. He said, "We need to teach the highly educated person that it is not a disgrace to fail, and that he must analyze every failure to find its cause. He must learn how to fail intelligently, for failing is one of the greatest arts in the world." So embrace the challenges. If things don't work out, learn all you can from the failure. Figure out what you can do differently the next time to turn that failure into success. In the words of the immortal Winston Churchill, success is never final, failure is never fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. One of the best ways to ensure that you take advantage of the opportunities that present themselves to you and to help you push through any fear you may experience is to find yourself a mentor, or even better, a series of mentors. We live in an age of relentless self-promotion. Social media has made achievement visible, but the struggle to reach that success invisible. We see the finish line posted everywhere, but rarely do we see the stumbling miles that came before. We are living in a culture that makes people feel uniquely, privately alone in their confusion and self-doubt and insecurity. Mentors are the antidote to that isolation. A mentor says, I was lost too. Here is what I learned. Here is a hand. The wisest people in every field will tell you that the learning accelerates after school, not before. Seek out people who have walked the paths that you want to walk. Ask them the uncomfortable questions. What do you wish you had known? What did you get wrong? What would you have done differently? Mentors are essential to helping you develop your skills, offering you an objective perspective on challenges and opportunities, helping you stay motivated and focused on your goals, and providing feedback and constructive criticism. I began collecting mentors when I was still here at Monmouth. I had several once I started practicing law. They offered me advice and wise counsel. Whenever I was having issues with business, with opposing counsel, with employees, or with life, they were always there to hear my concerns and offer helpful suggestions. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I am almost 59 years old, and I still have mentors. They assuage my self-doubt, they share their guidance, they tell me when I'm messing up. So find yourself a good mentor, or two, or three, and don't let them go. Here is my fourth piece of advice. Invest in yourself. Investing in yourself raises your floor and your ceiling, making you more capable, more confident, and more prepared for whatever life brings your way. You are your greatest asset. Your skills, knowledge, health, and mindset are the foundation of everything you produce, professionally and personally. The more you develop them, the more value you can create and capture. So continue to read and expand your knowledge base. Take up a new hobby. Tackle a new language. Get 8 hours of sleep a night. Contribute to your 401k plan. Network with others in your profession. Travel to a foreign country and immerse yourself in its culture. Learn a new skill. Volunteer with a nonprofit. Attend the theater, the ballet, the symphony, or the opera. All of these things are an opportunity to learn and to grow and to evolve. And here's my final piece of advice. Always maintain your integrity. Today, the name of the game seems to be to look out for number one, no matter the personal, financial, or moral cost. Mention the names Enron, WorldCom, Wells Fargo, Volkswagen, and a host of others, and everyone thinks the same thing. The apparent decay in the moral and ethical fiber of the people who populated those entities ruined the lives of tens of thousands of employees, retirees, investors, and consumers, all for personal gain and satisfaction. To be true to the meaning of this institution and the purposes of its education, I urge you to remember the words of the late A. Bartlett Giamatti, Yale president and Major League Baseball commissioner. In a setting quite like this one, at a lesser-known Eastern institution, he said, "You must know that idealism is not a paralyzing but a liberating force, and that to strive for principles, even if the journey is never completed, is to tap a vast source of energy, the energy to commit to do your best in the brief, precious time that each of you is blessed to have." So as you take leave of your friends and your teachers, remember what they have taught you. Know what you value and live it. Remember that your value is the sum of your values. Integrity, respect, honesty, fidelity. Those are the values that matter. Make them a living testament to all that you do. Each and every day you will have to look at yourself in the mirror and take stock of who you are and what you have become. When I was an undergraduate, I attended a leadership conference, and the facilitator of one of the sessions shared a piece written by American composer Dale Wimbrow about the importance of integrity and personal accountability that has stayed with me all these years. I've made a few modifications, but I'd like to share it with you now. It's called The One in the Glass. When you get all you want after struggling for wealth, and the world makes you king for a day, then go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what that person will say. For it isn't your parents, your husband or wife, whose judgment upon you must pass, but the person whose verdict counts most in your life is the one staring back from the glass. They're the person to please, never mind all the rest, for they're with you all the way to the end. And you know that you've passed your most difficult test if the one in the glass is your friend. You can fool the whole world down the highway of years and take pats on the back as you pass, but your final reward will be heartache and tears if you've cheated the one in the glass. So, I encourage you to be present in the institutions and communities that need people who think carefully, who live ethically, and who act honestly. Local government, classrooms, newsrooms, clinics, courtrooms, laboratories, nonprofits, companies, all of these are shaped by the quality of the people inside them. Go be a person of quality inside them. Ask the inconvenient questions. Stand up for the weak. Tell the truth when it is costly. These are small acts, but accumulated across a lifetime, they are enormous. A few years from now, something will happen. You will encounter a problem, read a passage, hold a conversation, and something you learned here will come back to you. Not a fact necessarily, not a date or a formula, but a way of seeing, a question worth asking, a voice that got inside you without your quite noticing. That is what this magical place has been doing quietly all along. There is a reason that this, your final experience at Monmouth College, is called commencement. It is not the end of something, it is just the beginning. You are not finished. In many ways, you are just beginning to be educated. The books you will read from here, the people who will change your thinking, the experiences that will revise your certainties, most of them are still ahead of you. Go towards them with curiosity and without fear. Embrace the opportunities and share them with your friends and your family and your mentors. Live a thoughtful, upright life built on a foundation of personal investment and virtuous living. My most heartfelt congratulations, class of 2026, on all that you have accomplished to bring you to this day. I look forward to watching you continue to thrive and excel and succeed. Today, like every day, it's a great day to be a Scot. Thank you so very much.
As you can see, this place stays with you for life, and I'm looking forward to that. So before we proceed with the conferral of your degrees, I want to take a moment to recognize some special groups among our graduates. First, I ask all the legacy graduates, those who have followed in the footsteps of a family member, a mother, a father, a grandfather, a brother or sister who has graduated from Monmouth, please rise. Your continued connection, yes. Your continued connection to our institution is a testament to the enduring legacy and tradition of excellence of Monmouth College and all that it represents. We are very proud of you. You may be seated. Next, I want to acknowledge our first generation students, the students that are first to graduate in their family from a four-year college. You are the pioneers. You are starting new traditions for your families by being the first to earn that degree. Your hard work, your determination, your courage have paved the way for future generations. For our first generation students, please rise and be recognized for this incredible achievement. You are trailblazers. Now, y'all stand, class of 2026. Each of you has contributed to this vibrant tapestry of Monmouth College, and we celebrate your accomplishments. You are ready to take on the world, equipped with the knowledge and skills and the confidence to make a difference. Now, let's get to the important parts, handing you your diplomas. So you may be seated, and let's get going.
For 169 years, Monmouth College has followed the tradition of using Latin to confer the baccalaureate degree. We invite you to follow the English translation printed in the commencement program as we begin the presentation and conferral of degrees for the Monmouth College class of 2026. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science please rise? Tibi praesidi collegii Momothiensis hos iuris et ad gradus ardium baccalorii et baccalorii scientiae admittantur offero.
In nomine Dei, amen, actorias teitatos nobis, a Republica Illinoisia, commisi et consui tu dine beti, nos professorius collegi Monmouth seivos ad gratiam art ad baccalauream et baccalauream scii admittimus.
At this time, we invite the graduates to come forward as their names are called to be awarded their diplomas. I'm going to ask that the audience hold applause until all of the students receive their diplomas. I can't see anything. Aiden C. Adkins. Leah Elizabeth Allen, cum laude. Chloe Grace Allen. Isaac Michael Anderson, summa cum laude. Shane Anderson. Marco Aurelio Eona Jr. Braden Arrhenius, magna cum laude. Carly Danielle Ashby. Kaylee Barton. Sydney Mae Barton. Casey Bednar. Amelia Louise Bennett, summa cum laude. Logan D. Bratcher. Braden M. Brauman. Kayla Ryan Braun, magna cum laude. Elena Lynn Breeden. Damian M. Brown. Jay Nick. Brock Christopher Card. Andrea Castaneda, magna cum laude. Allison Kathleen Silas, magna cum laude. Derek Chandler, cum laude. Edras Chavez Alvarado. Anthony Frank Secaucus, Jr. Addison Ann Clark. Paige Clark. Kaylee Sue Cobb. Neely C. Cole, cum laude. Demias Anthony Collins. James Patrick Connor. Caitlin Danielle Courtwright. Kirsten Cox. Peyton S. Crims, summa cum laude. Kaylee G. Cronin. Patrick Jerome Curry, Jr. Parker Lee Davis, summa cum laude. Bronte Isabella Desvart, summa cum laude. Eli DeBrock, cum laude. Braden James Deem. Lydia DeBisa. Maya Jane Dickerson, cum laude. Olivia Lynn Dingus, magna cum laude. Dean Duncan, summa cum laude. James Duvall. Gabriel Ebert. Karina M. Angst, summa cum laude. Courtney Farwell, magna cum laude. Ryan Finn. Nicole Elizabeth Fitch, cum laude. Wesley James Frame. Sarah Elizabeth Francescan, magna cum laude. Ana Maria Garcia, cum laude. Natalia Renee Godina. Ella Justine Goodrich, summa cum laude. Caden Gores. Camilla Colette Graham. Brooklyn Renee Green. Brody Lane Grice. Brooke Marie Gruby, cum laude. Nathan Andrew Grohl. Isaac Mario Guadarrama, magna cum laude. Lexi M. Hassan, magna cum laude. Jaylee Haston, cum laude. Ivy Hawkins. Thomas Patrick Henson, summa cum laude. John Ross Hess, summa cum laude. Reese Marie Hicks. Madison Elizabeth Heiser, magna cum laude. Bailey Hill. Genevieve Hin. Kaylin Channing Hoseman. Elizabeth Nicole Hofstadter, cum laude. Bryn M. Hogan. Abigail Hollerud. Ali Hoy, summa cum laude. Jason Charles Huber, summa cum laude. Emma L. Hausengay, cum laude. Luke Jakomick. Ethan E. James. Charles Andrew Johnson, cum laude. Ashley Nicole Elizabeth Urian Zinselman. Riley Kalnins, magna cum laude. Lucas Kessinger. Alexander L. Kindred. McKeely Clockengay, magna cum laude. Colin A. Cripey. Natalie Grace Labicki, cum laude. That's my kid! Annalyn Lovell, cum laude. Callista Grace Lithgow. Ethan Matthew Main, magna cum laude. Natalia Anelia Main, magna cum laude. Max Mering. Damian James Martinez. Clayton Daniel Matkovic, cum laude. Gianna Mond, magna cum laude. Alyssa Marie McDaniel, cum laude. Isabel McDermott. Tyler Jackson McDonald, cum laude. Hannah Ray McGee. Lauren Elizabeth Milheiser. Kelsey Ann Moorsfelder, magna cum laude. Lena Monahan, cum laude. Kendall Mugi. Madeline Heidi Myers. Addison Narlock. Lauren Naven. Joshua L. Nimrick. Cassandra Marie Nolasco. Seamus Etheridge O'Sullivan, cum laude. Adeline Elizabeth Ogden. Brianna Euler. Blake Stephen Orwig, cum laude. Andrew C. Osowski. Cecilia Rose Palladino. Seong Len Parr. Aiden Lauren Patrick Parkins, cum laude. Avery Parks. Dalton A. Parrish. Kaya Elise Patterson. Hannah Jade Peel. David Perez. Ryan Lee Phillips, summa cum laude. Eric Matthew Pio, magna cum laude. Turner William Plummer, summa cum laude. Ruby Poffenbarger, magna cum laude. Sydney Reagan Poppy. Evan Davis Privet, summa cum laude. Lorenzo Aramis Ramirez. Avery Jean Rangel, summa cum laude. Cole Braden Revis. Luke Andrew Revis, cum laude. Mason Joseph Reed. Cameron J. Reed. Jameson B. Reese, cum laude. Madison Cheyenne Emma Riggs. Elena R. Robertson, summa cum laude. Michaela Jolene Robinson. Jennifer Carmela Rossetti, cum laude. Madison Joe Rusk, cum laude. Carter William Russell. Robert James Russell, Jr. Dante Sardelli, magna cum laude. Grayson Hope Schmidt, cum laude. Braden Scott Schnarry. Helen Schremser. Aiden Scott. Shay Gloria Scott, cum laude. Tyler Michael Sears. Brooklyn Paige Sellers. McCaden A.R. Sepich, cum laude. Cameron Michael Shook, summa cum laude. Danielle Marie Schragel. Adeline Smith. Kinley Stearns, magna cum laude. Callie Tate, summa cum laude. Chelsea Lynn Taylor, cum laude. Caitlin Ann Marie Taylor. Kyle Taylor, cum laude. Jillian Aaron Toth, cum laude. Elizabeth Sue Towery. Bella Rose Tresh. Joseph Martin Twardowski, Jr. Ryan J. Ulrich, cum laude. Taylor Marie Whitaker, summa cum laude. Jalik Stefan Lee White. Dawson Wilson, summa cum laude. Vanessa Kaylin Wright. Mackenzie Alyssa Yark. Johnny Roosevelt York, Jr. Emmy Christine Bigham.
Good afternoon. I'm Karen Ogrzalik, and I've had the privilege and honor of serving you as your Dean of Students. I'm so proud of each and every one of you. I would ask that the class of 2026 to please rise. As I said, you are the class of 2026 graduating from Monmouth College this year. And if the wind hasn't done it for you already, please move your tassels from right to left. You may be seated.
As we conclude the benediction, please stay standing. Dean Wilhart will return to the podium and give you the instructions for your streamer toss. As we close today, the great theologian Dorothy Day once said, "No one has the right to sit down and feel hopeless. There's way too much work to do." Class of 2026, go forth with joy in all you have accomplished. And remember that none of us reaches this moment alone. Carry with you the gratitude for the countless people whose love, support helped bring you here. Go into the world determined to help create a better one, a world where compassion is stronger than fear and grace will lead the way. May you never lose your sense of wonder for what is possible. May you always be bold enough to believe that you can help change the world for the better. And go in peace, go in love, and go knowing that your story is only beginning. And finally, go forth knowing that you are forever a Fighting Scot. Amen.
Families, if you could remain seated until the students have gone through the recessional salute, we'd appreciate it. After that, at the conclusion of the ceremony, I invite you to linger and visit with your parents, students, faculty, and staff. Thank you for coming, and congratulations again to our graduates. Graduates, the conclusion of the ceremony is nearly here, and soon you will pass through the faculty a Monmouth graduate as you once passed through them a first-year student. But before that grand moment happens, we want to celebrate your accomplishment by throwing things. No, streamers, only streamers. Whatever else you were thinking, no, just the streamers. Okay, so undo the end and hold on to the end. Because if you throw the whole wad, it just becomes a whole wad in the air, right? So on my countdown, you're going to hold on to the end and you're going to throw the streamer above your head. Got it? Got it? Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm looking for. All right, now for the streamer toss. 3, 2, 1, toss! Thank you all, and congratulations to the class of 2026.
is a bloom, shoots up through the stony ground. There's no room, no space to rent in this town.